4.2 to the x equals a negative 7.1. I'm open to suggestions and recommendations. Take the log of both sides. And you want to do common log? Okay. So if I do the log of 4.2 to the x equals the log of 7.1. Okay, now what?
Can't have log of the negative.
Did y'all see that? We have a problem already, right now. What am I supposed to do with that? So here's what we want to do. We want to go back in time and draw a picture of this. If I did y equals this and y equals that, what would the graph of this look like? Is this an increasing function or decreasing function? Big base, right? Bigger than 1? It's an increasing function, but it had a horizontal asymptote where? Donde in Spanish?
0.
I'm giving you a big hint. The x-axis was the horizontal asymptote, right? So like, it looked that, right? Looked like that, and that would have been 1, 0, 1, and all that stuff. Is it negative 7.1 down here somewhere? So when is this curve going to intersect that line? Yeah, if I move this down, subtract like 8 or so, yeah, possibly then. But in other words, I'm saying, what exponent could you possibly use so that your positive 4.2 raised to that power gets you negative anything? Now, what if you weren't as sharp as Tara and you didn't pick up on that? What if you had kept going? You had the log of 4.2 to the x equaling the log of negative 7.1, as ridiculous as that is. If I just turned you loose, what would your next step be? Somebody said bring the x out front. Bring out the x. So my exponent, I'm taking the log of something with an exponent, and I brought it out front. So then it's x times the log equals the log. And then if I divide that off, that's when most of you would probably pull out your calculator. And I've got good news for you. When you type this in the calculator, it won't work. You'll get an error message. Right? And when you get that error message, that's when you go, oh, that's right. I couldn't take the log of a negative number, and I should have said no solution way back there. Okay? More no solutions, right, Tara? Okay. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Alright, this kid. Now there's a couple correct answers to this question. And I'm looking for one specifically, so I'll ask and just wait. What about this example here makes this qualitatively different than the previous two? Okay? It has a base e, which we're going to deal with, but there's something else too. What about that 10?
You're multiplying it. You can divide it off.
Yeah, it's like I had 5 times that. That would make that a different problem, right? So before I can take the log of both sides, what I want you to do is I want you to get that base by itself if that's a problem. Okay? So if this 10 I would say is a problem. So before we do the natural log of both sides, how do I get rid of multiplying by 10? Divide by 10. So e to the 3x minus 7 equals, you could call 5 over 10 lots of things. You could call it 1/2. I'm actually going to call it 0.5 because I'm used to 0.5 for the next section. We're going somewhere with that. All right. base sort of isolated. Now we're going to take the log of both sides, and I'm going to require, in this case, that we use natural log y. It's base e. And what's so nice about using the natural log with a base e? I don't even have to do my exponent trick. These are inverse functions that cancel each other out, and I'm left with just the 3x minus 7. And solving for that x should be k. That should be second nature. Especially if you think of the natural log of 0.5 on the other side as just a number. I've got 3x minus 7 equals a number. What would you do to solve for x? Somebody say add 7. Good. A stroke of genius, Lewis. So, is that now the natural log of 7.5? That's not 7. I'm not adding the 7 to the 0.5. I'm adding it to the whole natural log, right? So the natural log of 0.5 plus 7. Those parentheses closed for a very good reason. And then, yeah, you divide by the 3. And when you get around to putting this in the calculator, we normally don't write it, but you're going to need it in the calculator. You need parentheses around that numerator. It needs to look like parenthesis, natural log, parenthesis, 0.5, close parenthesis, plus 7, close parenthesis, divided by 3. If you don't put those parentheses around your numerator, you're going to end up only dividing the 7 by 3, not the whole thing by 3.